We're nearing the halfway point in this year's Formula One race calendar, and we arrive at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. We're live from the racetrack as the teams are about to leave their garages for the start of today's practice session.
So here we are at the British Grand Prix in our 2015 Formula One Championship season. Now, even though the home crowd, they'll be cheering for Hamilton, they'll be cheering for Button, even though we finish, we're going to try and have a little bit of something to say about that. The Silverstone Grand Prix is actually not a too bad circuit, We're expecting to see some rain, because after all, it's England, it's always raining in England. But we're going to jump straight into the qualifying. We need to redeem ourselves after the previous race, alright? So, we need to fix, and we need to try and get some points on the board if we're going to try and compete with the top 4 drivers and try and chase down the Ferraris of Vettel and Raikkonen. And even in the Constructors' Championship, we're still behind the Ferraris, but we can still get there. We could still potentially clinch second. I think the Mercedes are far too good and they are completely out of reach, but the Ferraris, it's possible. It's possible if some races and some just general stuff went our way. So anyway, this is qualifying. Rosberg has actually currently set the fastest lap of this current qualifying session, and in the second sector alone, we are just down by 1/10 of a second slower. And the Silverstone Grand Prix, it's an okay sized track. So Rosberg has set the fastest time currently in a 1:37. And there's a lot of different types of corners. There are actually extremely slow corners. So this one's quite hard to do actually. It's a pretty slow corner. And then of course there's some really fast corners as well. And we actually set a 1:36 flat, which was pretty damn good in comparison to Rosberg. And we actually did get pole position. So it goes us, Bottas, Rosberg, Hamilton, Vettel, Grosjean, Raikkonen, Felipe Massa, and there we go. And Stevens actually got 12th position, so a pretty nice qualifying session for Stevens. So here we are, the 5 red lights have gone out, and we are racing. It's a Williams with the Mercedes and the Ferrari just behind it. We need a pretty good go into this corner 1. No challenge whatsoever from the Ferraris. And pretty easy lines. Like that was pretty simple. There wasn't actually any, goes in our inside, and it was pretty easy to cement that position. The Rosberg and Hamilton are pretty close in our rear end here. And of course they are in a faster car, and they're going to have a slipstream down the straight, so which is right now you can see Rosberg trying to have a little look up the inside, but that's too far away. And this is the corner that I couldn't quite figure out the racing line. I kind of messed up the racing line numerous times on this corner and the exit speed, and every time, just there, Rosberg is going to find his way through. And it was just a corner I was struggling with the whole entire race. Qualifying I seemed to do it okay, but when we're actually racing, I was struggling on that corner, which was kind of annoying. But over that last corner, we did that pretty good, and I always had loads of straight line speed, and that was kind of unfortunate that I had to really slow down there, otherwise I would have smashed into the back of him. And by doing so, we kind of lost our racing line, lost a lot of time, and Hamilton is also going to go through. So in the first lap alone, we've already lost 2 positions to the Mercedes, and you got the Ferraris right breathing down our necks as well. So in the first lap alone, even the first couple of sectors, the Mercedes have already found their way through. So that is slightly annoying. It is a reoccurring pattern during this season so far, just looking at the rear side of the Mercedes. It's slightly annoying, I'm not going to lie, it's slightly annoying just looking at these two. So that was the first lap, and we're going to fast forward into lap 4. The Mercedes have already gone. They have already cemented a lead, and a pretty significant lead as well. And again, the same corner I said I was struggling with, Grosjean is going to take advantage of that. He managed to find his way past the Ferraris previously, and he's going to actually take us away again. So he's going to put himself into a podium position at the current moment of time, and we're going to drop to actually 4th position. But we have a little bit more straight line speed and the slipstream. A little bit of a risky move, not really an overtaking place normally, but we managed to make it work, and we get 3rd position back for now. So that's a little bit better. We're back into 3rd position now. Grosjean just behind us, and the Ferraris just behind him. We're going to fast forward a little bit again into the Grand Prix, and we get tapped. Raikkonen taps us in the back. We run wide, and both Ferraris get through. Like, that was just not fair, Raikkonen gave us a little tap, at the back right, and we just lost a lot of time. We ran a bit wide, and it just gave enough room for Raikkonen and Vettel to get through. Raikkonen didn't really lose any time there. And again, we're just running wide on this corner, and it just gives Grosjean a little look up the inside, and we just don't really have the exit speed as well. So already now we've dropped to 5th, you know, in the space of 5 laps. We've gone from 1st to 5th, you know, it's not the best start to a British Grand Prix. And, you know, even our tyres are going to start falling off pretty soon. You know, it's only a 26 lap race, which isn't, you know, a stupid amount. So, you know, the first 5 laps haven't really gone incredible. You know, we've dropped to 5th position at the moment, and we've lost a lot of time. And here we are battling with Grosjean and Ricciardo. Ricciardo's on the left, Grosjean's on the right, going into the final corner. And we kind of do something bad there. We actually hit Grosjean. Grosjean spins, and oh my, behind us, it's just a massacre. It's just a massacre. Everyone and their dog seems to have been involved in that accident. And here we are on the board with the Red Bull. You see Massa and Grosjean, and he just manages to dodge it, thankfully. So if we go on board with the Red Bull Infinity car, look at this. He sees Massa, and he just drives into him, and then like damages the nose by hitting the wall as well. That was pretty weird. This is on board with our teammate Felipe Massa. Actually, he sees the incident ahead of us, and I'm not sure what he tries to do, but drives into Grosjean and then gets absolutely smashed by the Red Bull car. Still manages to get away with it, and here we are on board. I think this is NASA, and look at that, just gets sideswiped by Grosjean. That's pretty unfortunate for him, but he seemed to be okay. So that, I mean, somehow we managed to get out of that unscathed, and you know, we just got away with it, really. You can see there again, Maldonado just actually putting it past us in the kind of the same corner, which is a little bit annoying. And we just had so much straight line speed on him, but we couldn't really find a gap to overtake him, and we had to tap him in the back, lose time. Sainz finds a way through, but you know, we're gonna have that place back, and got some yellow flags. Did we touch him there? Did we have a little bit of a collision with Sainz? If we watch this back on board with him, you can see he takes over us, and he has the inside lane and just taps the left front, just taps our car, sends him into a spinning frenzy. And unfortunate for him, I guess, you know, that's kind of how it ended up. And we're going to end up pitting because we started losing a lot of time on these tyres. So we were roughly around 7th at that particular time when we actually did pit. So it wasn't the best for us. And we've actually pitted right behind Maldonado. So ourselves and Maldonado have pitted at the exact same time on lap 8. So we're going to be running pretty much the same strategy. Still stayed out ahead of us. And Hulkenberg's coming out of the pits. And we just managed to stay ahead of Hulkenberg. That was pretty close. We are right behind Maldonado now, though. We are on some fresh tyres, but of course, so is Maldonado. At current moment of time, before the pit stops have actually happened, we're in 11th. So we'll have to see where we end up after all these pit stops have happened. We see an opening of Maldonado. We obviously have the tyre grip now, and we get the place back. We are back in the points position for now, but of course, Alonso, etc. still have to pit. And we're going to fast forward quite a little bit into the race here. So we fast forward like 5 or 6 laps. You know, all that happened was everybody pitted, and kind of the normal racing positions happened. So we end up in sixth place after everything happened. We ended up in 6th place, and on lap 15, we were coming for our last pit stop of the race. A little bit early because we have to do 11 laps or 10 laps on these last tyres, but we were losing a lot of time at the end of that sector, so we started to pit a little bit early, a little bit of a risky tactic, but one that I feel like we had to make. And we're going to fast forward hugely into the race now. Like, nothing really happened, no overtaking. You know, it was pretty much normal service. So after everything had said and done, all the pit stops, we were running in 6th position, 7.5 seconds behind Ricciardo there. And Raikkonen now. So Ricciardo's overtaken Raikkonen. We've got a yellow flag in front of us, and we've just heard that Raikkonen's lost one of his tyres. And look at him, he's driving slow. We're just going to have an easy overtake, and that is for position. So that's actually going to move us into 5th place. And if we actually look what happened to Raikkonen earlier on in the race, nothing actually happened. He was just driving normally, and he just had a tyre puncture. And essentially it put him out of the race, and we're 16 seconds at this moment of time behind Ricciardo. 16 seconds behind Ricciardo, who is sat in 4th position. So, I mean, it's good news for us that Raikkonen had a little bit of an incident because, you know, we jumped a position up to 5th and now we're chasing Ricciardo. Jenson Button, incidentally, in 6th place. What a race he's having. And someone's in the pits, actually, right now. Is that Ricciardo? Ricciardo's in the pits, and that's going to put us in a 4th. We've just jumped again. He's pitted with 2 laps to go. We're not really sure why he's pitted, but we're going to jump that, and now we're chasing Hamilton. Hamilton's pretty close, so if we look at Ricciardo, he was just racing, and he just hits a slow-moving Raikkonen, who's obviously suffered from the puncture. He was just going round the final corner at quite a lot of speed, hits Raikkonen, and damages the front wing. So, I mean, that's going to jump us again up to 4th. You know, just a little incident with Raikkonen and Ricciardo is going to put us into 4th place. And now we're chasing Hamilton. Hamilton, who was sat in 1st and 2nd for quite a while, is somehow only 7 seconds ahead of us. And we're chasing him. And if we actually look at why Hamilton lost all this time, he was actually chasing a back marker and just slammed into the back of him. And, you know, had a little spin, and he had to wait for all of the cars to actually get past, and just lost a drastic amount of time. Not sure if he was running in the lead or running in 2nd, but we're actually going board with him. He's just trying to overtake a back marker, and just didn't quite get the racing line right, and just smashed him, and just went on a spinning frenzy, and, you know, had to end up having a pit stop to change his tires, so, or change his wing actually after damaging it. But we don't manage to catch him up. He does manage to keep his position, and we are going to finish the race in 4th place. So Jenson Button actually finished 5th and Hamilton in 3rd. So the British crowd have something to cheer about. So it wasn't a bad race overall. Got a little bit lucky with Ricciardo and Raikkonen, but Rosberg wins the Grand Prix. Vettel in 2nd, Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. We're sat in 4th. Jenson Button from the back of the race actually finished in 5th. Ricciardo 6th, Verstappen 7th, Grosjean 8th, and Massa, our teammate, down in 11th. So that's going to put us on 83 points now in the Drivers' Championship. Massa is 21 points behind us, but we're also 24 points behind Vettel, and even more behind Raikkonen, and the Mercedes are completely out of reach. So we want to thank you guys for watching the British Grand Prix. Not a too bad race overall, and, you know, a lot of accidents, a lot of incidents, and a lot of crashes. I'll see you soon.